Welcome to the Executive Forum Speaker Series from Purdue University's Daniels School of Business. I'm your host, Dave Randich, and I'm a lecturer here at the Daniels School, teaching undergrads on the West Lafayette campus. Executive Forum brings students and industry leaders together. Our speakers inspire our students and the public with insights on trends in their industry and guidance for students as they develop their business leadership skills. Today, we welcome to our Executive Forum Connor White, Vice Chairman and Chief Investment Officer of White Lodging. Come along with us as we build the future of business. Connor, welcome to the Daniels School of Business, and congratulations on all the success your company's had.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Is the mic good? Okay. Well, first of all, just thanks for having me. It's such an honor to be here. Somehow I'm like really intimidated by you guys. You guys are all so young and cool, and I haven't been to a college campus in a while, so you guys look great. I'm excited for today.
So please make our guests feel comfortable, okay? You've already got them feeling an edge. So Connor, your company started in Northwest Indiana, up on the way to Chicago, the region we described it up there. And you started it's a modest, proud, decent area. Your brands you started with were solid and modest. And now you've got this glittering portfolio of hotels, restaurants, rooftop bars, ranches. How'd you all do that?
Yeah, so the company was founded by my father in the mid-1980s. He started doing Carlton lodges, which are kind of roadside motels, pretty low quality, but not too bad. And he kept getting, he would open these hotels, and he kept getting his butt kicked by this other hotel that would open in the same market called Fairfield Inn, which was a Marriott product. So he was going to open a Carlton Lodge in Maryville, Indiana, and he ended up having a chance encounter with the president of Fairfield Inn where they were on the same elevator. And he said, "Hey, I know who you are. Can you just tell me if you're going to open a Fairfield Inn so I know not to open my hotel because you guys will put us out of business?" And the president of Fairfield Inn said, "Hey, we're actually considering letting other people open these hotels and run them themselves. Like, how would you like to be the first franchisee?" So White Lodging and my dad became the very first franchisee of Marriott hotels. So before we came into the fold, Marriott would own and operate their own hotels. Now Marriott is just the brand. It's actually franchisees and owners like us that build and own the hotel, and then a management company that operates it, and Marriott's just the brand. So in the mid-'80s, we were the very first Marriott franchisee. We were one of one. Now we're one of thousands. There's a lot of people that do it all across the globe. And as Marriott grew, we grew right alongside them. We became their most trusted partner. So when they opened up additional brands for other people to franchise, we got the first opportunity to do so. So it started with Fairfield Inn, but it grew to us being the first franchisee of a Residence Inn, and then a Courtyard by Marriott, and then a large-scale convention hotel. So the Marriott in Indianapolis, which some of you guys might be familiar with, that was the first large convention-oriented hotel that Marriott let anyone else ever build and franchise. And then we were the first franchisee of 1,000-room hotels. And then we were the first franchisee of boutique hotels and the Autograph Collection, which is what the Union Club is. So kind of independent hotels that are still affiliated with the brand. So as Marriott grew, we grew alongside them. And we were really lucky to be a partner. Like from our perspective, Marriott helped us. It helped us gain credibility, getting financing from banks. No bank wants to loan to some random entrepreneur. I mean, they would, but it would be few and far between. But because we were able to put Marriott's name behind us, we were able to get loans and financing to build all these hotels. And then for Marriott, they wanted to grow their various brands. So they would really highlight our success to potential business owners and potential franchisees. They'd bring my dad to conferences and say, "Hey, look at this guy's success. He did this all by building Marriott hotels. You all should too." So they kind of used us to help springboard their own growth. So it became a very complementary relationship. But as we matured as a company, brands became commodities. So Marriott used to have 6 to 7 brands. Now they have over 30. Hilton, Hyatt, IHG, they all have over 30 brands. So everything became commoditized. But by that time, we had really grown our capabilities to be able to do restaurants really well, to be able to design lifestyle hotels, to be able to scale up and down, whether it's really nice luxury hotels or more select service properties, or very large hotels and very small ones. So by that time, we could do things on our own without the brand. And so how we got to where we are today, like we're able to basically build, design, select the site without any brand in mind. We basically do the hotel and restaurants that we want to do, and then we'll affiliate with the brand as the last step of a process just to get into their booking and distribution system. But we largely design exactly what we want to do for the highest and best use for the sites and cities that we choose.
And so clearly, as you enjoyed that explosive growth or earned that explosive growth, you had a good strategy and sound financial management. But to earn the respect of Marriott, there must have been very strong hands-on operational excellence inside of your DNA, right? The hard work which goes with that. Can you just describe that system, how that works?
Yeah, definitely. And it's a funny story. I mean, when we became the first franchisee and my dad visited the Marriott headquarters, they looked at him like enemy number one. I mean, anyone that has any experience with making your own brand, letting someone else have their hands on your brand is one of the scariest things that can happen. So when he was walking through the halls, they viewed us as the death of the brand and their operational standards. They thought we would just run it, purely for profit. We wouldn't care about the pillars of the brand. And so we made a promise to Marriott that we'll only do this if we can run them better than you. So all of your metrics that you look at for success and guest scores, we guarantee that they're going to be higher than your average scores for the hotels that you have. And if they're not, then you can take the brand off of our hotels. So we started with that simple promise, and then just went from there. So we have a scrappy entrepreneurial mentality with how we design all of our operational systems, whether it's revenue management, anywhere from housekeeping, rooms, engineering, how we maintain the building. Everything is part of a documented process. We call it the white lodging way, but really it's our systems behind how everything works, and it's a common language that the whole company can speak. And to me, the coolest thing about it is a lot of the core systems are the same no matter what type of hotel it is. So you could go into a very simple roadside Courtyard by Marriott, or you could go into a large luxury hotel with a top high-end steakhouse. All the systems on the back end and what we expect from our leaders and associates, it's all the same. So you can speak the language and grow your career across all the different verticals of what we do, and the operational systems, the core ones that are behind everything are the same.
It's great to hear about the success, the behind the curtains way that you did it. And as we think about your sector of the economy, hospitality is a very large slice of the North American economy. Can you just describe, Connor, where you play in that area over the years and how you gravitated towards the segments you've chosen now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we define hospitality as anything that has to do with leisure and tourism, really. So it can be hotels, it can be restaurants, it can be live entertainment, it can even be amusement parks, concerts, just things people want to go to and travel for. And so we've done a little bit of everything. I mean, in our company's history, we've kind of been involved in every single vertical. I think what drew us to do what we're doing now, which is urban and more experiential and lifestyle-oriented hotels, was that we believe in its ability to allow us to, number one, build density in markets, so have multiple properties and assets within the same market. And I'll explain a little bit about what that does for us. Number two, it excites us. It really excites us to look at a market and try to make a top 5 restaurant that's not just going to attract the hotel guests, but that locals are going to love. I think the one that you guys might know that we're trying right now is 811 Bistro and then Boiler House Prime on the golf course. Our goal was never just to capture the people that were staying at the Union. Our goal was to be a restaurant that the head football coach would want to bring the top recruits to have them choose Purdue, the distinguished faculty to have their meetings, local West Lafayette families to come have celebrations. That excites us. It's different levers we can pull. It's a different level of creativity that ourselves and our associates can have fun with. So that's kind of why we chose the lifestyle and experiential. And then for urban, I think we believe in the demand generators that a city offers and our ability to do multiple things in one kind of concentrated area. We try to choose places with multiple demand generators, whether that's a strong convention center, a strong leisure draw. So like our biggest market, Austin, Texas, it's live music capital of the world. So, well, at least that's what they say. You guys might have different opinions, but that's a leisure draw. And then it's got, it's one of the tech capitals of the United States. So a lot of people moving from California, building tech companies there. So we try to have a bunch of different things that contribute to the hotel market's success. And then urban allows us to build density. So when we have multiple hotels in the same city, for our associates, it gives a talent pipeline to where they can grow their careers within one company. And so we believe one of the coolest things about the hospitality industry is the upward mobility. I mean, you can come from any background, education level, country, and you can, if you're smart and you work hard, you can move up really quickly and make a good life for yourself. So someone could start at a select service property, move over to full service, move over to a restaurant, learn food and beverage, and then manage a hotel with food and beverage and rooms. So it's this talent pipeline for our associates that's really cool for them to grow their careers. And then from a business standpoint, we control a lot of the funnel of hotel rooms. So it gives us a lot of cool things we can do with our sales and marketing strategies and our pricing strategies. If a group is too big for one hotel, we can pass it along to the bigger one, and vice versa with smaller and bigger. We can give each hotel a swim lane from a marketing standpoint. So certain keywords pull up one hotel in a market and others pull up another one. So there's no competition with each other. They're really in their channels. So that's kind of how we chose urban and how we chose experiential as kind of our segmentation within hospitality.
That's interesting. And when you look at experiential and urban as your segment of the market, what are some of the external factors such as monetary policy, immigration policy? What are the things you're looking at as you're planning your business forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that affect us. I'll start, so we're an owner, operator, and developer. So owner means you actually own the hotel, you make capital improvements to it, you own it. Develop means you build it, and operate it means you manage it. So from the development side, something that's really affecting us right now is the tariff policy and construction costs, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to build the actual building for a price that makes sense for what the returns of the operation can bring to you. So it's really challenging right now because construction costs have risen way higher than RevPAR, which is kind of our financial profit metric, if you will. So that's been really challenging on the construction side. On the management side, the housing crisis, which I think some people in the business school talk about here, I saw, that's really affecting us too, because in some of these cities where the housing costs are going up so much, it's hard for people to live close to downtown in any capacity, and especially if the city doesn't have good public transport or things like that. It causes our wages to just have a living wage to go up way higher than our revenues or profits. So it's always putting a lot of pressure on the operation and how we can run it. And then because we're urban focused, all the things that would affect a city that I'm sure you guys, as you spend time in city, will see, but all of crime and homelessness and the city allowing people to build things or not. I mean, that all affects us a lot in terms of the vibrancy of these downtown areas that we do business in. So those are some of the challenges.
And Connor, you're running a consumer high-touch business, right? Your consumers are voting every day with their credit cards, and some of them are pretty big swipes, and you've got lots of ratings and reviews. Mm-hmm. If you're building a property now to be open in 26 or 27, what do you think, where's the consumer headed relative to your business?
So I always start with the fundamentals. So we always say no matter what, and this is over any type of hotel, you have to be clean, friendly, and competent. So we have to have those things right. It doesn't matter the design of the hotel. It doesn't matter how delicious the food is. It doesn't matter what you're seeing, how comfy the bed is. If you can't have those three fundamentals covered, then nothing else matters. So we always, no matter what, we think those three principles stay true as time goes on. So people's tastes can change. People can, as AI develops, it doesn't matter. We're a human business. Those three things are always true. So we always filter it through those things first. And then in terms of what the customer is wanting in the future, we're finding that even in some of our more traditionally boring hotels, people still want to have a sense of place. So if you travel to Nashville, you want to feel like you're in Nashville. If you travel to Austin, you want to feel like you're in Austin. So how do you bring some of the local culture and things that make a city unique into the operation? And so we accomplish that a variety of different ways. I mean, one of the ways you can accomplish it is in interior design. So you can have touches that pay homage or a nod to the local culture. Another way we can accomplish it is in food and beverage. So does our concept in the hotel, is it locally relevant? Is the energy in the restaurant, if you walk into Austin, Texas, you don't want to just see a bunch of people with a lanyard in the restaurant. You want to see someone in a cowboy hat. You want to see the family from Dallas that you're not used to seeing in West Lafayette. And so we try to get those people in the restaurant and locals to make sure that it feels authentic. And when someone's in one of our spaces, they have a distinct sense of place.
And how about you personally as an executive? I always tell my students, don't assume you understand your consumers. Don't assume it's easy to know where consumers are going in a market. How do you personally stay in touch and challenge yourself to keep getting better?
Yeah, so we're really big on soliciting feedback from our guests. I mean, if we're not, our business is nothing without our guests. They have to want to be at our hotels. So one of the things that we do that's a little bit different than our competitors is we make it really easy for the guests to give us feedback. So whether that's we have QR codes, at the front desk. If someone pays with their phone at the end of the meal, they get a "How was your experience?" and they can rate it and have an opportunity to give us feedback. And I think that's a differentiator. To drive home this point, this is something I do with my team, but I know we had you put your phones away, but can someone get their phone out for me and do something? Okay, you got me. Okay, Google Zanzibar, Austin. Zanzibar. So this is our bar at the Marriott. And when Google comes up, tell me how many reviews it has and what the score is.
Restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It says 4.5.
And how many reviews?
33.
Okay, you have the wrong Zanzibar.
Oh,
do you have it?
That's on TripAdvisor.
yeah, that's on TripAdvisor.
Okay, 7.7 thousand on Google, right?
4.9.
Yeah, 4.9. So
That's better.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Made me nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Google, there's a bar next door with our biggest competitor hotel. It's called Fulton. So Google Fulton Austin, and tell me what the score is and how many reviews it has.
77 and a 4.0.
Yeah. So it's 77 pieces of data on your consumer versus 7,700. And that's all done by intentionality with giving the guest a chance to tell us how they feel. And so we think, that's our biggest competitor right across the street. And we know our guests better than they do for a lot of different reasons, but that's one of them, is just breaking down any barrier so they can tell you how they feel always. So that's kind of a systemic way we do it. But from a personal standpoint, this is where I think just having passion comes in. Whenever I'm out, I just love restaurants and I love hotels. I'm always reading about them. I'm always paying attention. I'm going to ones that have gotten high reviews or have been written up. And I'm just looking at how people are moving through the space. Do they like it? Do they not? If I am really inspired by a place, I try to talk to the manager and ask them, what makes this place special in your eyes? What did you do with the lighting? What did you do with the sound, menu development, all of that? It's just about being curious. Like, there's never been more resources for us all to research. There's so many podcasts that if I am inspired by a chef, I'll search his name on Apple Podcasts, and there's an hour about that chef talking about how he or she came to be and how they built a restaurant a certain way. So there's so many resources. If you have the passion, just maintain the curiosity, and that's how you're going to get to know your industry and your consumers.
What I love about your description there, we used to call it enter your domain and immerse yourself in your domain. And your domain is hotels and restaurants.
Yep.
And you've made it your life and almost your hobby. which is what I think it takes to be successful in a business,
Oh,
right? To
definitely,
really
yeah.
understand your business. What are some of the cool things that are coming out in hospitality and leisure? You don't have to name any of your competitors, but what are some of the trends you're seeing that are really cool in your space?
Yeah, wellness is a big one. We see that the next generation of traveler really cares about being able to keep up whatever routine they have at home. So diet's a big one, and just giving people healthy options, but make sure that they're still craveable. The other thing is fitness and workout rooms. I mean, people have never cared more, not just about what your workout room offers, but the aesthetic of it. Like, do they feel good in the space? And then there's also fun things at some of our lifestyle hotels that we're experimenting with when it comes to saunas, cold plunge, those massage things where you press the button and it kind of vibrates and things like that. Like our guests are really paying for those and they care about them. So I've been very surprised at where we've built those. You really see it in the bottom line. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is immersive entertainment. I think we're seeing destinations where they're known for leisure and entertainment, but those are where office workers and people who travel even for business want to be. So markets like Nashville and Austin, and then we just recently made a purchase in Fort Worth at the historic Stockyards, which is kind of a cowboy culture destination. Taylor Sheridan, who made Yellowstone, kind of made an investment in it with a few other people to really make it kind of a Texas-themed tourist destination. And so that's one thing, but you see actually companies moving there and then conference goers wanting to have their conference there, and teams are buying it out for the World Cup, so they want that authentic kind of tourist experience. So we're seeing leisure and work kind of blending together, which is really interesting.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that. Let's switch over to financing. We've got some finance students in here. So when you guys do a project, you do a project, right? You're putting up a hotel. Did I hear you say JW Marriott in Indy?
Yeah, we have the JW Marriott in Indianapolis. Yep.
That's a big project, and you guys have done those at pace.
Yep.
So you got to go out and finance. And so in your industry and with your company's balance sheet, what are the factors that come into play when you're thinking about financing?
Yeah, so we typically, most hotel owners finance their projects pretty aggressively. So you'll see anywhere from 70 to even 90% of projects being funded by debt. And we are a multi-generational family business, and we're typically long-term holders. So we finance more conservatively than most. So typically between 50 to 60% of our capital stack. So the total amount of money that is going into the project to make it happen, we do 50 to 60%. So we're a little more conservative with how we finance things. As some of you have probably read about, if you read like the Wall Street Journal or in some of your classes, interest rates have really shot up over the last, let's call it 4 to 5 years, maybe a little bit less than that. But that makes things challenging for us because you have to cover your debt service from the operations of the hotel. So when those interest rates are higher, it makes it harder for projects to underwrite and pencil. I think the flip side of that, if it's harder to build for us, it's also harder to build for everyone else. So from our existing hotels, it actually limits the supply of hotels into the market, and just basic supply and demand. When there's a lack of supply, whatever the existing demand is, you can hypothetically charge more, assuming that demand is there. So it's not all doom and gloom for us. It basically just, the financing market makes it a little bit harder for us to build hotels from the ground up.
And with your conservative approach, do you find yourself in an advantage with lower borrowing costs than everybody else?
Yeah. I think when financing comes back, I mean, after COVID, there was a period of time where the banks were not loaning to hotels at all. So they were just closed for business, and we couldn't go to any banks. So we had to try to do other things. And because of being conservative and because of having a good track record, when the banks opened back up for business, we were one of the first in line, which was nice. But it's a loan. It's not someone just giving you money. So like we were celebrating being able to have debt, basically, which is kind of a strange thing. But yeah.
So Connor, you mentioned your multifamily company structure, which is very common in the United States. Another kind of version of that in private is private equity, which is growing a lot. And we have other structures such as publicly traded companies. Mm-hmm. As you look at the various models, what do you think are the advantages and maybe some, if there are some challenges of running a multifamily organization?
Yeah, so for us, like I look at being family owned and multi-generational as one of our key advantages over our competitors. It does a couple things for us. One, we can be opportunistic based on market conditions. So because we're privately held, we don't need to grow at all costs. We don't have a fund closing where we need to sell everything and then redeploy. We can basically do what we want to do. And so being a values-based organization and mission-driven organization, it allows us the freedom to actually live that out and not just have those as things on our website. And then the other thing it does is it ensures that we're going to be around for the long term. So instead of just thinking 3 to 5 years in front of us, we can think for 100 years. And make sure we make decisions where we might take some short-term pain for long-term gain. So it just allows us to do a lot of things that our competitors can't do just by the necessity of their structure.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. And can you describe, before we go over to Q&A, a little bit about what your role is in the company right now and where you spend your days?
Yeah. So I'm vice chairman and chief investment officer. I basically make all decisions on behalf of the family and the capital deployment, so the money that we spend on projects, and then just also lead the organization from the ownership side. So making appointments to the board, making the key executive hires, and then really being the keeper of the culture. I think the culture always starts at the top, and then it has to resonate with people and then move through the organization. So one of my focuses always is I know our values, I know our promises, I know where we should be, what our hotel should feel like, what our associate experience should feel like. So my job is really to be the steward of that and make sure it gets stronger in the future and doesn't degrade over time.
Well, it's certainly going well now.
Yeah, no, we have some exciting things going on. So yeah.
Connor White, thank you for joining us at the Executive
Thank you so
Forum.
much for having me.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Executive Forum Speaker Series. Learn how the Daniels School is building the future of business by visiting us at business.purdue.edu. That's business.purdue.edu.